इतना सा फर्क है कुछ होने में और बहुत कुछ होने में। इतना सा फर्क है एक बार सोच के छोड़ देने में और लग के कर दिखाने में। मान लेने में कि जिंदगी ऐसे ही कटेगी और सुबह 4 बजे उठ के सोचने में कि अभी तो बस शुरुआत है। किसी मैगजीन को हाथ में लेने में और उसी मैगजीन के कवर पेज पे होने में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वीआईपी सीट में और उसकी पिछली सीट में इतना सा ही तो फर्क है। वो जिसका मैदान ही खुला आसमान है वही कल जमीन पर तो था। पूछोगे तो बताएगा वो पंछी कि एक दायरे में सिमटने में और पूरी दुनिया को दायरा बनाने में बस इतना सा फर्क है। इतना कितना है? इतना है या इतना है? जो नापेगा वो जाने कि जहां धरती और आसमान मिलते हैं, नानपुर से दूर, अगर मगर शायद से दूर, वहां भी दोनों में फर्क बस इतना सा है। धरती और 7वें आसमान में फर्क बस इतना सा है। ये एक अंतर प्रेरणा है। ये हमारी, आपकी, हम सब की अंतर प्रेरणा है। एक कदम, एक छलांग, एक बाजी, एक गहरी सांस और एक ललकार खुली हवाओं में कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन फिजाओं के लिए, कि हाँ मैं बना हूं उन ऊंचाइयों के लिए जो ऊंची तो बहुत है पर नामुमकिन भी नहीं, क्योंकि मुमकिन और नामुमकिन में बस इतना सा फर्क। धूप छांव में फर्क बस इतना सा। तो बस चलिए फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया के साथ ये फर्क मिटा देते हैं। फ्रेंचाइज इंडिया, 20 years of ideas.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for playing motivational message as well as video of Franchise India, which truly highlights the essence of Franchise India. Franchise India, the brand which was established in 1999, helping all international and national brands to expand their business with our 70 plus offices. We have helped thousands of investors to get their franchisee business from us. We welcome you to the 135th episode of Business Opportunity of Chai webinar series. This is a platform where we digitally interact with each one of you and represents the brand of the day. Franchise India does not endorse any of the particular brands. It's a platform through which you can get information about the brand. We welcome our panel member, the management team of Franchise India, Mr. Gaurav Maria and Sonia Chaudhary. During the course of the webinar, they'll be sharing their advice, thought processes, suggestion with each one of us and talking about the brand. The flow of the webinar would be, we'll start with the presentation from brand side, which will be followed by question and answer session with our panel member and brand, and then the closing remarks. The brand of today is Pecopp, the brand which is already present in with their outlets, 10 plus outlets. They are highly effective pest control services. They provide their services for residential and commercial customers. They are a well-known brand for their science-based, efficient, high-quality, eco-friendly, and safe pest control services. And it's our privilege to invite the brand, Mr. Siddharth Balwani, who's a director. He joined this particular business in 2016. If I talk about his education, he's engineer as well as MBA. He has worked in companies like HSBC Bank and enjoys a great corporate experience. I also invite and welcome Mr. Girdhar Pai, who's a mentor for Pecopp. He has headed India's third largest pest control company and enjoys 20 years of rich experience. Thank you both of you for joining us today. But before we formally go and present your brand to all of investors, we would like to play a small short brand video for each one of us. Thank you so much, Dheeraj, for the brand film. Over to you, Siddharth and Girdharji.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I thanks Archana for introducing us. I've got Mr. Girdhar Pai with me, who's been in the pest control industry for more than 20 years. Previously, he was leading India's third largest pest control organization, and he just joined Pecopp in 2020, which is, as we know, very exciting year for for everybody. I have, of course, been in pest control for a very long time. I've also been about 14 years, and I'm part of a legacy. I'm very proud to be part of a legacy which is going to be 50 years old this year, and we are ready to take this brand to the next level. And with Franchiseindia, we hope together we can make that happen. So without any further delay, I'd like Mr. Pai to make a quick presentation to you all, after which we'll be happy to talk about our brand a little more. Okay, Mr. Pai, thanks.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'll take you through a short presentation about Pecopp, and after which we will have room for questions. So just give me a minute for bringing up the presentation. So good afternoon, everyone again, and we are happy to represent Pecopp here. Like you see in our logo itself, this is a 50-year-old company. On December 17th, 2020, we will be completing 50 years. And we are privileged to showcase our company and capabilities with you all and help you make a decision on franchising for Pecopp. So without further delay, let me take you through some details about ourselves and some information we thought you will be interested to hear. So like I already mentioned, Pecopp is a 50-year-old brand, and this started in Mumbai, and now of course we are in different parts of India. And we would like to go further into other parts of India, and that's one reason why we have this information sharing with potential franchisee partners. What exactly do? We are basically into pest control. We go into people's homes, and we go to business premises, and we provide pest control services. So we have to be very careful when we provide pest control services. There has to be some technical backup of it. Customers have to be satisfied. We have to be able to provide these services using our resources efficiently. And then if there are issues, then we have to be able to go back and make sure the customer is satisfied. And above all, when we are doing all this, it has to be safe to our employees as well as to our customers and to the environment. So it's a challenge to do all this, but then that's part of our business challenge, and we have been able to master this. So one of the things which is important in our industry is to be able to have in-house expertise. So we have a lot of people who worked in this industry for long. We have people who have a PhD in entomology, that is the study of insects. So through all these resources, we do our own in-house research, and we are able to train our team, and then we are also able to help our customers. COVID-19 is a good example when a pest control company has to guide its customers. So we've been doing that for our customers. Many of them are in essential services. For example, we have a power company who are our customers. We have several hospitals who avail our services. And all these, they received information from us on what is COVID-19 and how exactly it spreads and how to prevent it. And most importantly, we also provided services to them. So we were quite busy even in the lockdown. Now, of course, in the unlockdown phase 2, we are very busy because, for example, we provide services to movie theaters, and as all of you know, they're just getting off the ground. So we are back providing services there. Even during the lockdown, we were protecting the different cinema theaters through our services. So this actually is the key message we want potential franchisees to know. Whatever be the situation, pest control is a requirement. So historically, we used to talk about ours being a recession-resistant industry, meaning even if there is a recession, the pests will be active. So pest control services will be provided, and so we are not so much affected by the recession. So that's another attractive feature about our industry. Sorry about that. So basically, we are one of the market leaders. There are very few companies which have lasted this long, and through our technical expertise, through our integrity and reliability, we have been able to sustain in the market, and we are growing. And we are happy that in our 50th year, we are able to bring on franchisee partners and take this journey further ahead. As far as technology is concerned, you know that we are one of the few users of enterprise resource planning, or ERP as it is called. So using this, we are able to make all our businesses digitized. And today, when one of our technicians goes to a customer, they are able to get the signature of the customer on a mobile phone screen. And so this thing about contactless transaction, we are actually able to do it even in a field like pest control. And I'm happy to tell you that we are one of the few companies in this industry who's doing that. And there are some other examples also how we are able to use good equipment and slightly more expensive but very effective equipment. For example, you all will have seen that the municipality as well as private players, they go around dispersing smoke, which is commonly used against mosquitoes. Now, that's a very old technology, and it has its safety issues, whereas Pecopp has what is called as a cold fogging technology, which means you are actually able to spray a pesticide using water, and then there's no need for petrol or diesel to run these fogging machines. And by using this in an open area, we are able to get very good pest control. Of course, you can also use this cold fogging technology even indoors. So these are some examples I can think of to make you understand how a company can be different and how Pecopp is different in the field of pest control in India. So what are the unique selling points of Pecopp? See, we like to be quick. Whenever there is a customer query, we want to quickly address it. And if you go to our website, you can find that if somebody wants to book a service and pay for it, they can do it very fast. And I'm happy to tell you that within this week, we are also going to launch a newer version of our website. And so far, we used to take only residential customers bookings there. Now, from now on, even the commercial customers, small businesses are able to book their services, and we are able to offer them those services. So we will continually talk to you about digitizing our business. So in an industry like pest control, very few other companies have spent time and effort to digitize, and we are one of the few who have done it. And this will help even a franchisee partner, because paper-based businesses, you know, they have challenges and they have inefficiencies. We've overcome those by digitizing our business. And another thing is, you know, in Mumbai, like Siddharth keeps sharing with me, there is a very strong brand recall of Pecopp. That is, if you ask people, what do you remember when you think of Pecopp? they will instantly think of the cat. You can see it on the top right hand corner of our screen. So this has been a feature of people's lives in Mumbai and now of course in other places for the past 50 years. So we have a strong brand recall, and this helps us to keep getting more customers. As far as the pricing structure, this is a very simple pricing structure, and using that we are able to offer competitive services. And then because the structure is sound, we are able to make sure that anybody who partners with us for a franchise, they are able to benefit from it. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, everybody is into business to have a strong bottom line. And definitely our current structure will allow for a profitable pest control business. We also have qualified staff who provide strong quality assurance. So we are able to run checks on how our services are to get feedback from our customers. We use tools like Net Promoter Score, where we ask a customer how satisfied they are with our services and whether they would recommend us to somebody else. And using these tools, we know how well we are doing, because every business needs to have a health check periodically. And we use these different tools like auditing at the customer side, calling and getting feedback from the customers. And then that helps us to keep us on our toes and keep improving. We are also a strong believer in integrated pest management. Whenever a customer calls us, it is not that we promise them we'll eliminate all the pests, but we tell them what the customer has to do. For example, if there is a residential customer, something as simple as closing all the toilet drains and the other drains in the house with a cockroach trap, that will prevent cockroaches from coming in. Similarly, when we go to a movie theater, if there are rodent issues, we tell the customer we will trap the rodents, but then they have to invest in keeping the rodents out. And we offer this service where we plug the entry points of the rodents, and that's an additional revenue stream. So you basically have prevention, you have monitoring, and then you have control, which is what we do with the pesticides. So we are strong believers in that approach, which is a technical, scientific, and logical approach. And we use that to help our customers. And that's what makes customers stay with us, even when we make them do some of the things under pest control. After sales service is very important. You will repeatedly hear this from us. So in spite of our best efforts, you know that there could be a recurrence of pests, or customers could be dissatisfied. We make sure that we listen to customer feedback and then go back and address their concerns and make sure we have happy customers. We also use the latest pesticides. So just like in pharmaceutical drugs, pesticides keep changing. And right now, of course, there are molecules which are beyond third generation, but those are not commonly and easily available in India. So we look to use the best products. We buy them from reputed companies like Bayer and Syngenta, which are basically multinational companies. And we have, see, the most reassuring thing for any franchisee partner is that we have the expertise on how to run this business. So we are the experts in this business, and we will be sharing it with all the franchisee partners. So this is the service portfolio. So what you have to understand here is basically the great thing about this industry is, you know, if the customer has a problem with any pest, now that is the opportunity for us to provide a service and to generate revenue. So the most common, of course, are the household pests, things like cockroaches and ants. So we have those services. We help in protecting wood. So that is through wood borer treatment. Then rodents are a big problem. So we provide both rodent control and rodent proofing. Bed bugs are making a comeback. Globally, this is a problem. And so this, of course, both at homes and at businesses is a problem. Another big segment is termite, because termite is a pest which basically feeds on cellulose, that is things that are there in paper, in cloth, wood, etc. So we provide two services in this segment. One is the pre-construction, which means prior to a building coming up. And then we do post-construction, that is after a building is constructed, if somebody has a termite problem, we provide services. Mosquito management is also an attractive service. So you can go and treat the water against the mosquito larvae. That's one way of generating revenue. There is thermal fogging, the smoke-filled fog that you see municipalities and pest controllers generate. So that is one. Then cold fogging that I mentioned earlier. Then there's an interesting service where we buy a product from Syngenta. It's called Icon. And applying this product, you can actually help a customer get mosquito-free homes for even 3 months. So these examples will help you to understand that this service segment has enormous variety. Meaning, one of the good things is in pest control, you will never have a dull day, because every day there is something new and interesting thing happening. Houseflies are also a common problem. It could be in restaurants, in food factories. So that's another segment. Bird management, we provide solutions where we put up bird nets to prevent birds from coming into homes or companies. And a product called Bird Spike, which is basically a pointed metallic or plastic object. This prevents birds from coming and sitting on a surface. Disinfection is a very good service for the current times, because you know that when businesses are opening, or even when people want disinfection for homes, they call pest control companies. So I'm happy to tell you that we have been one of the most active in Mumbai during COVID-19. And our team has gone out and done a lot of disinfection, and it continues to do that even now. Then there are more pests which require treatment. If there are pets at home which people have, then we go and provide treatment against ticks. We also help in dealing with honeybees. And lastly, like I mentioned earlier, one of the ways we can generate revenue is to go and prevent pests from coming in. So we do pest proofing, and that's another segment. Now, this is not the only limit. We also do sales of products, and as and when there are newer pests or pests that are commercially important, we are able to launch newer services. And all of these will be available to the franchisee to go and provide this service to the customer. So you can see here that our employees, we call them technicians. So they are called a pest control technician. So you see examples of our technician doing services at homes and businesses. So they are in our brand color. So yellow and blue is the uniform of the technician, and whoever goes on behalf of Pecopp to provide services, they go out in this uniform. You can also see here on the top row two pictures where a person is in white. So that's the personal protection equipment, PPE as it's called. And these are pictures of our team going around doing disinfection. So that is, like I said earlier, that's a very attractive segment, and a lot of inquiries and demand we received in the past 6 months. And going ahead too, I'm sure that there is a lot of opportunity in it. So pests are there everywhere and all the time. There's nothing like somebody getting rid of pests. permanently, and that is what keeps us in business, and that is why this industry is recession resistant, because something like diseases will be there all the time, and so pests are also there, and that is the business opportunity. So if I have to share with you what's the size of our industry, this is not a very small industry. You see that 3 years ago we were at an industry size of 1800 crores, and last year it was close to 2400 crores, and 2021, that is by next year, we expect to cross 3000 crores. Now, even this is very small, because you take something like the American industry, they are a $8 billion industry, which means something like a 50-60,000 crore industry. So our industry is much, much smaller, and we are confident that as the economy grows and as consumer preferences change, even in India, we will have a much larger pest control industry. So why will this industry grow? That's a good question. See, climate change, as temperatures go high, you know that malaria cases will go higher. Similarly, as people move into cities and the lower class becomes middle class, they will be interested in taking pest control. So globally, we have studied, and this is something which is happening. For example, China is a good example. As the middle class population increased, the number of customers of pest control increased. So that is definitely happening in India too. Changing demographics, that is, we have more and more consumers who are younger, and they have less tolerance for pests. For example, if you go to a rural place, cockroaches running around in a home, maybe cockroaches running around in a home may be considered okay, but in a city, in an apartment, the residents of that apartment wouldn't accept it. So this industry has a good future, and right now you're looking at a 3,000 crore industry, but my view is that the day is not far off when Indian pest control will be an American billion-dollar industry. So what's in this for the franchisees? The franchisee format is very lucrative, because the investment is low, but they will be able to get returns, and we will be providing extensive support. Whatever the franchisee needs, we will be more than willing to lend a helping hand and make sure that the franchisee gets a good return, and they run a viable business. We are in the process of rapidly increasing our franchises, and that's one reason we're taking help from Pecopp to spread out throughout India. And we will be having different ways in which we can make sure that the investment proposal is very attractive to the franchisee. See, the most important thing is the franchisee should be able to generate a free cash flow, meaning from whatever they spend, they ought to be earning back, and then that earning should also return in a profit. Because at the end of the day, whether it's Pecopp or each of you potential franchisees, you are interested in generating profits, and we are here to support you in that journey. So your requirements are fairly simple. We operate through a structure called a branch. A branch is the basic unit of operation. So a franchisee will run a branch. And if it's a large city, then we may have multiple branches. For example, Pecopp itself has multiple branches in the city of Mumbai. And there is scope for more. So any of the metro cities, you know that there can be multiple branches. The investment is not very high. It's about 10.5 lakhs, of which the capital expenditure is very low. And the franchisee fee is 4.5 lakh rupees, which basically the potential franchisee pays to Pecopp. And how does commercially it work? See, let's say we bill 100 rupees to a customer. So the franchisee provides the manpower and the materials for the service. And when we collect 100 rupees from the customer, 42 rupees will go to Pecopp and 58 rupees will go to the franchisee. So which will help them to manage their direct operating costs as well as their overheads. We've done work with Franccorp, and we found that the return on investment in 5 years is about 100%. And the payback to the franchisee is under 2 years. It is 1 year, 8 months. And then we basically want long-term association. Of course, if you asked us, we want a perpetual agreement. But anyway, this is business, so we are looking at a minimum agreement of 5 years. So why should you choose Pecopp? That's a good question you have there. Why? Because we are a known brand and we want to provide professional pest control. We will do intensive training and also support you for continuous training. And the entire marketing will be handled by Pecopp. Siddharth has been running this business for more than 10 years. And we've done a lot of marketing, and we are moving now more towards a completely digital marketing solution. So getting the customer, which is a big challenge for many other pest control companies, for us, that's not so much of an issue. We are able to attract customers and make them select Pecopp as their choice of service provider. We have a lot of business relationships already. For example, I spoke of movie theaters. So we have a couple of movie theater chains who are our customers, and they, even after lockdown, they are able to restart, and they want our services across the country. So in some of those parts where we are not present, so there is a ready-made service and revenue opportunity for the potential franchisees. So the other reason is we've been emphasizing how we are a 50-year-old brand. So we have the experience in this industry and we have a knowledge of this industry. So there's no learning curve. As soon as somebody joins our network, they basically gain access to the entire knowledge that we have. And we have, one of the things we are proud of is we are here because people, that is our customers, have found us to be credible and to be providing solutions. So we have a proven success, and this is a very low investment opportunity because the capex is very low. Mainly, you have expenditure on the operational expenses. The return on investment, I'm sure Franccorp can also add to that. It's fairly high, and we are always on the lookout for new products and services. And in fact, even as we speak, there is a project which I'm involved in, and which we are moving into a new type of service, which we will discuss with you later. And most importantly, we've already operated on our own through our 10 branches. Okay, so we will use this experience to help any franchisee partner. So that's all I've got, and we will be happy now to take any questions. Thank you for your patient hearing, and we look forward to your questions as well as your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Girdharji, and thanks, Siddharth, for joining us on this webinar. And undoubtedly, I think you are in the one most promising sector. And what is more important is that you've been in the sector for good 50 years, and 50 years have a industry as pest control. So before I even start, Siddharth, I mean, you want to like to share how this 50-year story really happened, right? Because to really identify 50 years back an industry like this, which is still very, what I call a little unorganized and
Yes,
fragmented
absolutely.
and things that.
Fragmented, absolutely. So, 50 years back, my father, Chandru Balwani, he started Pecopp. We had a small office in Dadar, opposite Portuguese church. And I think I remember from him telling me that time there was only one company prominent in this business. And he used to go door to door and looking for business. So either customer said we already have a contract or we don't have a problem we were dealing with. So a lot of people weren't even aware of pests and the organized control of pests. They were doing do-it-yourself kind of services. You had your Lakshman Rekhas and your Baygon of the olden days. So gradually, Peacock, through its sheer dent of persistence, I would say, we persisted and we were able to develop and become quite a prominent player in Mumbai. We were able to grow, 5 branches while my father was around. And that, like I said, we a lot of it was his marketing sense. We were one of the first companies to do TV ads. We did press ads even back in the 80s, which was not very common, for pest control ads. So we were one of the pioneers in marketing. In fact, one of the other things we pioneered was we used to do these peacock boards in buildings in Bombay, which offered double the warranty. And that actually got very effectively copied by the competition later on, but that was actually pioneered by Peacock. So some of these very interesting marketing ideas is how my father was able to take this journey to Peacock to a large extent. Unfortunately, in 2010 he passed away, which is when I took over. But I've been able to grow this brand from 5 branches when I had, and now we have about 10 branches and a lot bigger network because now we are operating for the first time outside Maharashtra. And we see a lot of demand. In fact, what is stopping us from growing is the demand is from across the country. We are getting calls and we are using third-party service providers where we want our own brand to be present there. And that 50-year journey, probably I said one of the regrets was we didn't expand faster, but now we've got this wonderful franchising module, which you have, we are working with you. So we think this is the ideal partnership we can have to take this 50-year-old brand to the next level and grow this brand to where I feel it should be, which is across the country.
Absolutely, and I think you should compliment your father in terms of being visionary to see an industry like that. And that time, I think people to even perceive an industry was very difficult. And I know large companies which were invested into this business later, they were also not able to see an opportunity when you started. So,
Absolutely.
and more importantly, I always start with this question with founders like you who now, when as a family, been committed. So I say that one of the biggest thing you can really see in any opportunity when you are looking to invest is see the commitment of the founders or the family, and you are committed for 50 years. That's very important, and for you I think it's even more important because your father did mistake. That's still all right. You have even not a scope to do it because you got a legacy and a emotional value system
Absolutely.
which sits with you where you need to really put your best in terms of making sure that the
Absolutely.
brand becomes a household name, which you are already in some region, and especially in Mumbai, and now it's an opportunity to take Peacock to all the markets and in across the country and so on and so forth. So congratulations, and I think it's a big
Thank you.
responsibility and a challenge, and also a good, really a contribution from a son to his father. That look, that what he created is now going and traveling to everywhere,
Absolutely.
and the business should be a household name everywhere in the
Thank
country.
you. Thank you, Gaurav. That's
Yeah, so let's start with now a little bit on the industry, and Girdharji also is a veteran in the industry, so maybe start with you. Girdharji, I think what have you seen in last 20-25 years? What has changed in the industry? And still there is a large part of the industry is very unorganized, and where do you see the changes coming through, and why a consumer would now shift to a more organized player like you?
See, the industry, it's grown organically in one sense because just like Peacock, there are other companies which are proprietary and family owned. And so this was the trend till for roughly about 50 years, which means from about independence till the beginning of this century, we mainly had private limited companies or proprietary companies. But this changed around the beginning of this century when we had a FMCG company, which is Godrej, which came into this industry and they set up what is called as High Care.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they brought in the model of advertising and gaining customers. So they made one change. Now the other changes happened when we had multinational companies come into this industry. So we have several multinationals now operating in India. So one is called Rentokil, which is of UK. Then we have a couple of multinationals from the US. There is Terminates. Then there is Truly. There are three, in fact, Truly, Nolan, and Orkin. So all of them have come into this industry because they see the potential of the Indian market. So these players have been able to help us expand the market. Now, we will have, I guess, in every segment in India, you basically have unorganized and organized players. Okay, and you take the best example is retailing. So there was this talk around the beginning of the century that with the coming of organized retail, the mom and pop kirana shop will go defunct or extinct. But you know that even in the COVID lockdown, they are the ones who supported the consumers. And now you may be amused to see, right, that the big organized retailers actually go to the kirana as the last mile delivery segment. So coming back to our industry, I think we will have both consolidation and fragmentation happening simultaneously. So we have people who want to remain small, and so those will be there. Whereas we see a lot of consolidation in terms of, for example, if there is a movie chain, like we serve the two of the largest movie chains. If they want service from one company, and if they want a standardized service, they'll come to someone like Pecopp. So, and like Siddharth was saying, there are places where we are not present, and customers want our services there. And for us, that's a good way to expand by using the franchisees. And food industry is growing in India. So, and because of that, food is one of the segments which has a lot of potential. And there are a lot of opportunities where nobody has looked into. For example, something like protection of monuments. You know that you go to a monument, you see weeds growing all over. And some of these are UNESCO World Heritage Monuments. Nobody has thought of it as an opportunity. But you know, controlling weeds, that's a pest control opportunity. So there is a lot of opportunity. My view is that you know, this industry is kind of understated, which means the actual potential is 2x, but we are at x, or maybe it's even 4x. So this 3,000 crore industry could potentially be something like 12,000 crores, which means you're talking of $1.5 billion US dollars. Okay, so that's the way to go. Main thing is we have to do better marketing of our capabilities as an industry, and consumer expectations and demands. Those are anyway rapidly changing.
No, very important, and I think you rightly said that this is the industry is ready for a major growth. We at Franchiseindia and Francop had an opportunity to work with some of the multinationals, especially Orkin and other players. And we have done study that it shows that it's about a $1.5 billion in immediate industry in 3 to 4, 5 years. So that opportunity is very, very big and very large, and that's where the opportunity comes in. And for your company, I think it is a double advantage, and I'll see this industry, having a three different viewpoints on that. One, obviously, your vintage and your experience in Indian market and the Indian environments, Indian weather, Indian household, and Indian pest issues is much higher than any other multinational would come. And by the time they do their learning curve, you already know what people want, what are the issues, what timelines of the framework, in what weather, what would happen, how it needs to be addressed, and especially environments and infrastructure we have in India. I think you have much more greater vintage and advantage of what I call understanding local market, where everybody else has to do a full learning curve. The second advantage I see in your case is obviously you reach to economy of scale. You're already ahead of the size and structure and the kind of volume you're doing, and that gives you an advantage on a lot of things, which becomes better for you in terms of cost of acquisition, customer acquisition, from customer service, supply chain, materials used, and a lot of other things. And third, with the now franchising coming in, the missing part in this business globally, this is a franchise business. Why it is franchise business? Because it's very entrepreneur led. Entrepreneur brings in a greater amount of customer service, customer retention, and things of that nature. If I do a good service to a home or a business establishment or to industry or to a, say, a religious place or to a public sector infrastructure, I am more likely that I will be retained. And if I manage the relationship, this would continue for life. This is subscription business. So I think I would give full marks on your business model from a vintage, which brings in a local experience. The size brings in the greater amount of abilities to now reach out and get more value to the customer. And then being an entrepreneurial company, I think you will be able to bring in a last mile consumer experience, which is big valuable. So before I invite Sonia for taking a lot of questions and asking people which cities they would be interested on, and maybe if people also have, I mean, our audience also should get an opportunity to understand which are the markets which you probably would be looking at, and which are the markets there is a greater opportunity coming in. And I know you will be getting a lot of inquiries from some markets which you're currently not servicing. So there would be always low hanging fruits, which we should always talk about, like for an immediate market like a Pune, or a market like which you probably would have a big demand coming in, but you are not servicing, or you're not completely servicing, or things of that nature. Or areas in India where you think that the pest control is much more required, right? The overall demand side out of this 3,000 crore is much higher. So we'll take on those questions, and I would, advise our audience to really go out and Q&A box to write questions, and Sonia would keep reading it and picking it up and later. So let me finish with my part of it. So let's go on a financial model. It's a relatively low cost model. It's only 10 odd lakh rupees. Out of that, 4.5 lakh rupees is actually franchise fees, which is a license fees you get for 3 to 5 years. It's 3 years or 5 years?
5 years.
5 years. So it's a 5-year license fee. So essentially, and then it's renewable. So it's a 4.5 lakh rupees for 5 years. It's less than actually technically less than a lakh of rupee, which you get a license for. So it's not that high. And then you have a very small investment, which is another 5.5 lakh rupees for the setting up the business. Out of that 5.5 lakh rupees, what is the breakup of that? How much is the breakup of that 5.5 lakh rupees?
So I think about 2.5 lakhs is some equipment which you need to buy, machinery. Like we said, the high-end cold fogging machine, and so only one of the machines is really expensive. Otherwise, the capital is not that much. The rest of it is setting up your infrastructure in your office. You need to have a basic. We also mentioned, Mr. Pai, we have a license of a ERP software. So we'll need you to procure that license, and also the digital, like all our employees now will have devices, so that we are all digitally enabled. I think we've all seen with Swiggy, Ola, Uber, all employees, we want to stop this paperwork business, especially in today's day. So investment is basically going in procuring your digital tools, your machine which actually deliver the services. The chemical cost is actually initial investment is not that high, because you can buy that as a part of your operating expenses. And the rest of it is actually just setting up your office, basic infrastructure, and you don't need a very large space. We are advising a minimum of 250 square feet, because actually you can work out of that smaller space. But most of your employees actually go out on the field. You don't need a very large, a lot of businesses, retail rent is a big killer for a lot of businesses. So not having a big office is actually an advantage. You don't need to. We operated from home for 2 months because most of my offices, but our people just need a place to store the material. So that's what we're looking for.
So sure. So essentially, if you really do the breakup of what Siddharth's saying is that you need an office. So if you already have an office, that's money would be saved by you. 2.5 lakh rupees or up to maybe 3 lakh rupees if you put some small pads or some places where people can use digitally everything. So 3 odd lakh rupees is total capex, and 4.5 lakh rupees actually technically your franchise fees. Yes. So essentially, if you have your own office or some place you can really store the material, you can get going in less than 7-8 lakh rupees, and you're ready for a business which is with you.
Yes.
Now, so this is very helpful. Now I have two questions. When I say, let me, start with this. I do it in Surat. I set it up this piece. Give me a go-to market. How much time it will take me for getting my first account and servicing the account? That's one question. The second is how the financial works. What do you think? At what level my throughput would reach? What level? Give a extreme. You have 10 branches, so you can give high performing branch and a low performing branch, and give an extreme case and say this is what this was done, and this was how much time it really takes you to go to your optimum performance. And third question is what kind of manpower would be required?
Okay, I'll answer the first part. The go-to market we learned in lockdown. We started, because one of our teams was operating in Calcutta in lockdown, and because they were operating primarily cinemas, they had no work. We started doing our online marketing. Almost instantly, we started getting customers. And because we have a network of customers, there are customers who came to me asking for work in places where we aren't. So the answer is almost immediately retail customers will come through our network of, we handle some very large business houses. We work with some very, including facility companies. So we have a ready market. In fact, some places there is revenue already inbuilt, which the franchisee can take over, which we are servicing, which we are ready to open out to the franchisee. So even in a place like Surat, which you mentioned, we have a ready business. And online marketing now, the old marketing tool where you actually have salespeople going on the field, that models actually we learned in lockdown. No one is calling you home to visit you. No one wants to, do that physical visit anymore. So digital being a very efficient tool, that's the best way to do business. We've been doing online digital since 2007. We were the pioneers. Google AdWords, we were the first one. So we run a very successful AdWords campaign. We feel very quickly, immediately the franchisee can start running the show. Initially, basically, we are advising 4 technicians to start with. So just like Mr. Pai said, 4 people, a manager, very small setup. He can start almost immediately. Now, in terms of throughput, it depends from a very large market to a Delhi to a smaller market like Surat. The range is there. So that's a little more tricky question, to be honest. But we projected by the end of the first year, 40 lakhs would be the revenue for the franchisee, of which 60% approximately would be commercial and 40% would be residential. So that's our projection in the first year. At the end of the first year, a 40 lakh overall revenue, and which your share, the franchisee share, will be 58%. So that's roughly what we're looking at. But bigger markets, we expect bigger, like a Bangalore market is a very populous urban. We are totally in total digital mode. So we feel customers love booking online. We found ever since we started doing that three years back, we find people are booking pest control service in the middle of the night. There's a need for this throughout. So we feel with our online digital tools and even better technology available, we'll find our service requirement straight away. And disinfection has opened a new window itself. That's like people want right now. They're not ready to wait. So the minute you start, we feel your customers will start virtually immediately.
Absolutely, and that's very good.
To supplement Mr. Maurya, what happens is if you are running a 50 lakhs per annum business, then you should be able to get a margin of the net profit for the franchisee in the range of at least 10 to 12%. Okay, which means what? Roughly about 5 lakh rupees on 50 lakhs. And you can get there within about 1 year, meaning that won't be very difficult. And we have our rules of thumb in this industry. So let's say we've employed 4 employees to go and do the work. They are called the technicians. So each of them ought to be generating revenue of about 60,000 per month, which means their cost to you is about 15,000. And then they are able to, so you're spending X on them, then they got to go serve to the extent of 4X. Okay, so when you have 50 lakhs, which is about 4 lakhs per month, so that will be roughly about 6 technicians. Now we are looking at models where we are able to help the franchisee get to a 1 crore revenue per annum, and if there is a 10% net profit, that means they are able to get back about 10 lakhs. So which I think you are the veterans and pioneers, so that kind of a business is not easy, or those are not common. But this industry, we are able to do it, and we are able to do all of this providing good pest control service, having happy customers, and at the same time generate a good profit for the people doing it.
So very good point. Girdharji has said that the overall business size and volume, the first year is Rookside to 40-50 lakh rupees, depending on where you are. And eventually the peak performance would reach to about 1 crore, and 10% outside paying all your expenses, you will be able to take home, which means that the first year profitability can be 5-6 lakh rupees, and the next year it gets to 10 lakh rupees. But what I like about this business is that this business is not going anywhere. In next 10 years also, you will have the same subscribers using your same services, right? Like they've done 50 years. It is very clearly a stable business.
We have the same customers for 25 years. Some of them have been with us literally. We do some properties for more than 20 years, so I can vouch for that totally.
Correct. And this is where the opportunity, and nothing is going to change. Pest control would become even bigger demand service.
Absolutely.
Especially what has happened now. We are all scared about anything happening around us. So it's a I think a big change. So over to you, Sonia, for your remarks, and if you want to take some questions from the audience, please.
I'd like to thank Girdharji and Siddharth. A lot of questions we have picked up. We have tried and explained the entire business model and also unit economics. I'll quickly pick some questions from the audience. And first and foremost, which I want to understand is because we're talking about various locations where the inquiries are coming in. I'd like to understand what locations at this point in time are we open. So, for example, we have Mr. William Michael from Pune. He's keen to also understand, is there also some kind of data or demand which you have for any of the markets which are closer to Bombay and you think these are immediate markets for you to get into?
So one good way we did data estimation, we looked at Google searches by territory. We found Bangalore is one of the highest searched pest control. So one good way to demand estimate is see what people are searching for. So we use Google as an engine for that. So Bangalore is a very important market. South India, we have almost all the states in South, which is your Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, your Andhra, Telangana, and Kerala. All those 5 states are very much there. We're also looking for states in the north. We're looking at Rajasthan. We're looking at Punjab. So we are also looking in the west because east. My mistake. We're looking in the east. We're looking in Assam also. So where we feel these markets are growing and there's not much representation.
Correct.
Also, the ability to price is better. See, Mumbai, what we know, we've been here for 50 years. Market is very saturated. Your pricing can, it's very restricted. But in tier 2 cities, there's a lot of potential. Pricing is better. You can get better, returns on investment also. So we are obviously we've got our biggest presence in West Pune. We have an office, but Pimpri-Chinchwad is a territory we'd be open to looking at a franchisee because Pune
big opportunity. Big opportunity in Pimpri-Chinchwad. It's a biggest Asia's biggest industrial hub.
Absolutely. So Pune, we're there for the last 10 years, but I know Pune is a city which you can have 4 offices, and Pimpri-Chinchwad is a market by itself, which has got a large industrial presence. And now if everybody who knows Pune, it's grown like around the city size itself has grown astronomically in the last 10 years. The city starts well before you enter it now, with all the infrastructure construction going on. So market size in Pune is also definitely enough to look at. But primarily now our focus will be outside Maharashtra because we have ready business opportunities. Mr. Pai told you 2 of the top 2 cinema chains we are working with, and a lot of other corporate houses who want us to do business elsewhere. So we have ready business. That's why I said from day one, we'll probably start with customers. There's not much of a lag. It's like plug and play. Some of the customers we already have plugged in. We are just using some, other mechanisms to deliver the service. We'd like to work with our franchise partners because the consistency of service and that will remain with us. That's our point. So, like I said, South India is a big territory, North and East. That's primarily where we're looking at.
Sure. But one question which I again pick because you talked about Pune. So how are we actually segregating maybe the territory, maybe in a city like Pune? You mentioned you're currently running 1, right? So there's 1 office you're running and there's a potential of maybe 3 or 4 more that you see. So how are we dividing these territories? Is there a set radius or are we dividing it based on the opportunity that one sees in a particular location?
I think you answered that question correctly. This depends on the size of the city, but we've roughly looked at a 10-kilometer geographical range. Like in Mumbai itself, we have 6 offices.
Okay.
I would say 1 every prominent station. So that will give you an example that how much penetration we can do in a big city like Mumbai. Probably there's scope for more because Mumbai is expanded even more. So in a bigger city, I would say a 10-kilometer range, but in a smaller city, maybe the entire city, like in a tier 2 city, there could be a smaller city with lesser volume. We could have the entire city with one franchisee. So it depends on the potential of the business. And like I said, we will use Google as a demand estimation tool to kind of prejudge the volume. And we also have other metrics, like we know the industry where the majority players are present. We have other ways to judge demand.
Right.
So that will help us understand,
Sure.
the potential for each franchisee territory.
I want to add here, see, what happens is each market is unique. You take something like Mumbai. Now, Mumbai is such a city where the east and west itself can be big enough. So there your radius will reduce even further, meaning you don't even need a 10-kilometer radius. If somebody operates within 2.5-kilometer radius, it will be big enough. And see, as the business grows and as our business grows, what happens is we will look at the top line, meaning if you are able to get to like a 2.5 crore revenue. So that is the time when your ability to serve more may get constrained. See, one of the things to remember in this industry is this is a service industry, which means you are well known when you provide good, timely service, but you are better known when you are able to address a customer complaint. We went to somebody's home, provided a service, and then they got a complaint and they're calling us back. So if we are too far, then what happens is our ability to go and reach them becomes constrained. So one of the things that is driving us for franchising is we ought to be close to the customer. Close doesn't mean next door, but very close.
I have a half an hour rule. Like my guy should reach your office in half an hour. That's rough benchmark that we put in place. But in Bombay, half an hour can mean a lot of, not a lot of distance also.
Correct, because of the traffic.
Depends on the congestion.
Right. So I'll take up maybe a few very quick questions which have come in. One I'd like to pick up is on the mix of services. I think what you told was residential and also commercial services. What typically for the end consumer, I think in the presentation there were about 8 odd services we talked about. Which out of these various services would give you the highest maybe revenue one? And what is the average cost of these services to the consumer? And what is the average cost of these services to the franchisee?
Okay, so let me get to the first part. Which of the services give the most revenue? So the most common services: cockroach control, termite control, rodent control. These are the top 3 services, I would say. Bed bugs is primarily residential, so I'm not mentioning, but this cockroach, termite, and rodent is the 3 largest segments that we have. I would say they, probably rodent control, we get a lot of profit because once you do a good job and we do this proofing measures, as Mr. Pai says, the actual service requirement is very, the initial hard work will give you a lot of returns, and then it's a periodic checkup basically. So that return on investment on rodent treatments, and then it's something nobody can avoid. So even you will not stop doing it because you stopped having a problem, because the fear of that will itself keep you from subscribing to our services. And the second question is about cost of providing the service.
Also the mix, meaning what is the percentage commercial mix?
Yeah, so commercial currently for Pecopp we are doing about 60-65% commercial and 35% residential. Although during lockdown residential went down and commercial went up, because still householders are gradually now opening their doors and letting, many housing societies did not allow outsiders, so that ratio got skewed. But I think gradually 60-40 is what we've assumed in our financials. And that's a 50-year-old historic average. So we are fairly set on the 60-40 thing, for 60% being commercial and 40% being residential.
Okay, and the average cost of service is also something which perhaps.
Yeah, so the residential service would be anywhere between 1,000 rupees to 3,000 rupees, depending on a single service or an annual contract. And margin on residential is very high. The cost of providing the service will be, I can just tell you from our the productivity of a person, like Mr. Pai said, 60,000. If a person was doing only residential jobs, he can probably do about 1 lakh of business. So the cost of servicing is a lot less, but in commercial, it actually might go down to 40,000. So
Okay.
cost of providing services in residential is much less. Commercial is much more. So margin on residential is much more because the work gets done quicker. The problem is restricted to the kitchen area. In a commercial, you will treat a larger, take a longer time, and there are more protocols to follow. Takes a longer time.
So let's say you charge the customer 1,000 rupees. So your
And how are we charging? If you can also, is it per square feet, or are we charging 1 BHK, 2
So for
BHK?
residential, it's like that. Like you said, you go to our website, you can see the price list pretty flat. So there's slabs. So depending on the size of your house, we'll charge you. We're coming up with a model up to 10,000 square feet. We have set pricing. Above 10,000 square feet, which means you're a very large establishment, we will have to customize the pricing for you, because the requirement, the number of visits, those are all customizable. You can have somebody wants, like some big 5-star hotels we do. We have 24/7. We have 6 people on board, so the customization can be to a very high degree. We manage one of the biggest 5 stars in Bombay. Then we have 6 people on their rolls who are there 24/7. So the customization, there's no per square feet there. There it's more manpower based. But for commercial, generally the thumb rule is square feet, and for residential it is by number of rooms or BHK.
Okay.
So let's say the franchisee provided service for 1,000 rupees. Okay. So your question was how much would they spend and how much would they save on that, correct? So to provide that 1,000 rupee of service on average, now we are using a blended average of commercial and residential. They would spend 40 rupees on the manpower and the material, okay, which are the direct costs in our industry, which means they have saved 600 rupees. Now, we've also told you the share, right? Basically, they have to, so 420 rupees goes to Pecopp, and 580 rupees goes to them. So they have another 180 rupees within which they have to manage their office, overheads, etc. Now, this 40 rupees, 400 rupees, it's not written in stone or sacrosanct. It's just for the discussion sake we are telling you. So some customer, they may be able to manage with just spending 250 rupees. Some others may go into 420. So that when franchisees start new, right? So that time I think their expenses will be even lesser because the workforce is more productive. So it could be more like 350 rupees, which means 65% would be your margin initially and early days. But that as business matures, that will go down slightly.
Okay. One maybe last question which I'll pick is on the institutional business, because you mentioned you currently work with a lot of corporates also, and they're 5-star hotels, and these are bigger chains which also have maybe their hotels running in locations outside Bombay as well.
Yes.
What happens to these relationships? Will they be passed on to any franchisee in case there's a franchisee available in that city? Is that something?
So if a franchisee takes over territory and we have a client and we are servicing the client, we will hand over the relationship to the franchisee. So which is why we are very much wanting to do that, because right now we're using some other models to service them. So that's another ready-made. Like in some territories in East, we have, in lockdown acquired some business where we're using other service providers. That business will be handed over to the franchisee.
Okay. Now, one thing which is, because sorry.
You can be sure there is no competition between franchisee and Pecopp, because we want franchisee where we are not there.
Correct.
And where we are already there, we will generally, I don't think we will have franchisees there. So that line is clear. And if we have used a third party, like you said, to serve a customer in place we are not there, so that will straight away go to the franchisee.
Okay. And lastly, maybe if you can also expand a little bit on the franchisee's responsibilities and his obligation. What is he expected to do, and what kind of role in terms of day-to-day operations is expected out of him?
Yeah, we will help you with that. See, basically, we have the two divisions in the responsibility. Pecopp role is to basically understand the market, do the marketing, get sign-ups from customers, and to do the payment collection and accounting for all of this. Now, what is the franchisee role? Franchisee is like a branch of Pecopp, and their role is to go provide the services to the customer. To do that, they need the branch, which means the infrastructure that we all spoke of, and they need technicians, and they need one branch manager. Okay, so their role is operational, meaning provide day-to-day service, and then attending to complaints, and where necessary, do the collection, okay, on behalf of Pecopp. Now, we are going in a very big way for digital model, which means collection customer will directly make and Pecopp will directly get it. So, if I have to go more granular, what happens is the franchisee knows that these are the customers which Pecopp has taken orders from for my location, and I have to provide the service, which means I need to have sufficient manpower for that. I need to order materials and keep them, and then the scheduling using the software I have to do. So on a day-to-day basis, send technicians with materials to the customer premises, provide the services, okay, and satisfactorily provide. And then you know that the confirmation is also digital. That is, the technician's mobile will have the signature, and customer will sign off there. So their role ends there. The marketing and the collection, Pecopp will take care, and then. Pecopp will pay because see, like we said, right? In every 100 rupees, the share of the franchisee is 58. Pecopp will pay them that amount. And to do all this, we will constantly handhold them. There will be a induction training. There will be ongoing training, and we will provide software support. That is operational software, not the accounting software. That, of course, they are free to choose their own. Have I answered your question?
Absolutely.
Very helpful. I think
Very,
it
very,
defines that you would bring in a lot of business, and then the service, the last mile fulfillment is done by the franchisee. So it's a good combination.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a great combination of you driving the business from a client acquisition, capability development, and so on. So forth. The franchisee runs on the last mile fulfillment. So we already run over 15 minutes. So maybe Girdharji, Siddharth, any last words you want to have for our audience, and also Sonia?
I'd like to say we're very excited with this opportunity. I'm for me, taking this 50-year-old brand to the next level. I've always wanted to do this. I think we had thought about this franchising 10 years back also, but somehow we never got up. But now with all these digital tools available, as Mr. Pai said, technology in 10 years has enabled a lot of things, and we're very excited to work with Franchiseindia and all our franchise partners to take this brand ahead. So thanks a lot for giving us this platform. Really appreciate, and a lot of support from the Franchiseindia team to get all this organized for us. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Girdharji and Siddharth. Do you want to put a date? Because I see some inquiries where they want to interact with you. Can we bring maybe prospective franchisees on a one-on-one call with you sometime in this week or
I think next week would be better tentatively. So Wednesday, Thursday of next week, middle of the week would be the ideal time.
All right.
So good.
We are very open to have these meetings. So Wednesday, Thursday of next week, we can fix up these calls.
14th is a good date. Let's do a 14th, 1 week from now.
Okay.
And
perfect. Looking forward to having your inquiries, guys.
And this is a huge opportunity for our audience to really partner with the 50-year-old legacy and industry which is continue to grow for next 20 years. So it's a great stable business model, easy to manage, and they're generating a lot of business for you, and you're doing the fulfillment. That's a good model to be in.
Great, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Archana, over to you for your thank you remarks and closing the webinar.
So thank you so much, Girdhar sir and Siddharth, for joining us today. Really, we understood the entire process, entire brand end to end. Thanks for all the support which you gave us for preparing this webinar. We would like to thank our panel member Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am for sharing the insights, suggestions with us. You can connect with a Franchiseindia team at our business hotline number, which is 97176838838. That's the number where you can suggest us. You can share your suggestions, feedback with us. We request you to save this number because we broadcast, update regular information through this number. Once you save it, you will receive it from our site. You can also connect with management team of Franchiseindia at their respective LinkedIn IDs. The recorded version of this particular webinar and rest of all the webinars which we have done, any kind of the franchisee short summit we have done, is available at the Facebook page of Franchiseindia Brands. Go under the section of video, you will find all the previously done webinar there. And tomorrow, since today we have invited you and you have witnessed 50 years old brand, tomorrow we are inviting brand Nathus. They enjoy the legacy of 80 years, and Bhavya, who is the director at Nattu, talking about this particular brand tomorrow. They are successfully running 20 plus outlets. Do join us tomorrow to understand their end-to-end business model, franchise model. Please do registration today. At the same business hotline number, you will get a registration link. Once you do the registration, you'll get a confirmation mail from our side. We wish all the best to you for rest of the day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Join us tomorrow for this particular webinar.
Everybody
Thank you
knows
so much once
Nattu as a
again for
brand.
joining us.
Everybody's iconic brand, which has been there in Delhi. So everybody knows the brand for many, many years. Bengali market, it's a corner shop. Everybody who really used to come to even out from outside from Delhi would end up going to this brand. So Nattu is tomorrow's opportunity. So see you tomorrow. Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you,
Thank
Gaurav.
you, Gaurav.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Good day.